okay, let me ask you this. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but do you think that, as a guy anyway, that you should get into a fight in your life at some point?
It depends. So I used to say yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I wouldn't say per se that you should get into a fight. I
Yeah.
think you should get the shit slapped out of you once in your life. Because it does put in perspective that there's always somebody bigger than you out there that can punk you. So be careful about what you do to somebody else.
So from that standpoint.
Damn, I think my ball sack was being outlined by my shorts this whole podcast.
Oh, man.
Yo, dude, I just saw my mammal toe. Y'all see
that shape?
They saw the fucking... They saw the grapes and the stems. Oh, dude, they saw the grapes of wrath. Dude, that shit was like being outlined as fuck. We're gonna have to what's it called? Crop this and lift it up later.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Nah, leave it alone, bro. Let him see it, man.
It's cold in this room, dude. That shit's extra small. It's not like that. You didn't let me pre-fluff first. If I pre-fluff, that shit is huge.
Wait, warm up the room a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, yo, why is my pant area so tight? I was like, oh, that's right, because I got these fucking compressions.
You just realized this now.
Yeah, I just scratched my balls and I rubbed my nose. That was nice. I'm gonna cross my legs real quick.
But going back to it, for me, I think so. I think as a guy that you should fight at some point in your younger life, just because you should know what it feels like to hit somebody and to get hit back, you know? And part of that is, I guess, the lesson you just brought up is knowing when to kind of know your place and not get so ridiculous, right? Because somebody will check your ass and beat your ass if you get out of line. But another thing is just, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's almost like a rite of passage into becoming a man, you know, to have been in a physical fight and not necessarily win, right? If you win, that's great too, but you know.
I just don't want my kid to be a confrontational human being.
Yeah, not like that.
Yeah, because I grew up way too confrontational. Yeah, you know, I had a fucking mouthpiece on me. Yeah. So I think arguably a lot of the reasons why I got into a fight, there was two factors, right? It was one, because somebody was doing something to a friend, so out of loyalty, I just had to jump in.
Oh yeah, dude.
You know, which was so fucking annoying because I'm like, dude, I don't want to fight. Dude, but I have to.
No, I took it upon myself. Like, dude, I've been fighting since I was like in first grade. No joke, like physical fist fights with people since I was in first grade.
I know, I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about it. Like, dude, one time, I think in third grade, right? This kid kicked my friend in the balls, right? For no reason. no fucking reason, right? And obviously that shit was painful, and my friend went down and he started crying and shit. And I looked at that dude and I was like, you just fucking wait. You got another thing coming now, right? And then I forget if it was like the same day or later that week, I was playing ball in my neighborhood, and this fool made the mistake of riding his bike down my block. And I stopped and I saw him.
How old were you?
Third grade, probably like 9.
What a violent little child you are.
And I was like, you fucked up coming into my block right now. And then he was riding by. I threw my basketball at him, like on his head. He fell off his bike, and I got on top of him, and I just started fucking going off on him. Fucking broke his glasses. His nose was all bloody. And I started, like, there were cars stopped in the middle of the street because I was in the middle of the street just pounding on him, right? One of them was my friend's uncle. He got out the car. He's like, what are you doing? You know, like, stop. Maybe about 15 minutes later, this was a white kid. His parents came to my house, started, open the door right now. And then my mom opens the door. She had no idea. She didn't know that I just did that. And this kid is sitting there, face all fucked up, and your kid did this to my son. We're going to get him expelled from school, and all this started going.
Like, well, joke's on you, my kid's stupid. Yeah. He's going to get expelled either way.
And my mom was like, yeah, I actually did get kicked out of school later that year. My mom was like, why did you do? I was like, he kicked my friend in the balls. I had to avenge my friend.
And then your mom went off on the guy. Did you know what your kid did?
Yeah, exactly. No, so like I always, I had to avenge my friends, man. I didn't even think twice about it. I'm like, dude, you fuck. And I told you, we talked about this on the podcast before. Friends and family, man, there's a line there. Don't cross it with me.
I want my kid just to be a witness.
just to
witness shit. It's like, dude, man, I saw you get beat up, bro.
Okay, like that.
I wanted to step in, but them cops. Yeah, I mean, I can't do nothing. That's what I want to be.
Oh,
I just hated that stuff too. It's because I always felt like I had to do it. And a lot of the fights that were picked was because somebody else picked it for me. And if it was up to me, I wouldn't have done anything. But I was a big guy. I was this size since I was 14.
Yeah.
So, when you grew up full of the area that I grew up was predominantly black and Asian. As the Asian kid, I was like the big Asian kid in the group.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously it's like, okay, well, are you going to go throw down with this? I'm like, I guess,
Do I have to?
like, do I have to? It's like, but a lot of the people that were troublemakers were friends that I grew up with.
Yeah.
If I met them later in life, most likely we wouldn't have been friends.
Right.
But because of that loyalty that you have growing up on the same block together, you feel like you have to. And I always had to pretend like I was something that I wasn't.
Yeah.
So I hung out with a lot of people who weren't great people.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really them.
Yeah.
I was the anime kid, and I should have just been the fucking anime kid. But I will say this though.
Yeah.
Because I went through that experience and I hung out with them, they did help me grow a fucking backbone. So when people did try to punk me, it was a very different story.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's for that reason that I think that as a boy, on your way to becoming a man, that's something you got to go through. Because if I have a son, I don't want him to be meek. I don't want him to be soft. I don't want him to let people step over him and stuff like that. But when you realize, because I feel like a lot of the times for people who've never been punched in the face before, that's like the worst thing that can happen in the world, right? Like, oh, I don't ever want to fucking get hit. But once you take it and you get your lumps and bruises, you realize it's not that bad, and it makes you feel a little bit stronger, a little bit more capable, and that's why I feel like they need to go through that.
Yeah, it's weird too because I think the way we grew up and during the time that we grew up,
that's just different times.
Yeah, gangster violence was very glorified.
Yeah,
it's not now. Violence is not glorified now. It was hyper glorified when we grew up.
Yeah.
So when we recount these stories, some people are like, oh, so you thought, especially in my case, oh, you thought you were a thug? I was like, no, everybody got into a fight. It was just average.
Yeah,
like
it was.
There wasn't a person who didn't get beat up, who didn't get punched in the face, who didn't throw down.
Yeah.
That's not to say, and that's the thing too. People who say that clearly never grew up around any type of gangster their whole fucking life. If you think that just because you got into a fight, suddenly you think you're a gangster, clearly shows that you never grew up around thugs.
Exactly, man.
Like getting beat up and having throwing fists doesn't mean you're a tough guy.
No.
It was a way of survival. People just try to rob you. They try to beat you up for any fucking reason. So you had to fight back.
It just happens. It just happens.
It has nothing to do with trying to be a thug or a tough guy. It was just either I consistently get beat up or I have to at least swing trying.
Yeah.
It's just is what it was at the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I remember first time I got jumped, second grade, dude. Second fucking grade. I was fighting this kid, right? And then another one of his friends came and they joined, and then they basically got me on the ground, started like punching me, kicking me, whatever. I remember this very specifically. There was this super quiet kid, right? I remember his name, Joe Vuki. Shout out to Joe Vuki if you're watching this somewhere in the world. I probably haven't seen you in like fucking 20-something years. But
why does he sound like a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh card?
No, but this kid was like super quiet and shy, right? And I think like some kids made fun of him because of that. But I was always cool with him. I never like gave him